Hi, welcome to episode 1 of The Dog's Dish. This series of videos is designed to give you information that's practical and easy to follow regarding your dog's nutrition. We're not here to preach to you and say that one way is better than the other. We're just going to give you the simple plain facts on a variety of different topics that relate to your dog's nutrition. Hi, I'm Claire, and this is episode 1 in a series of videos where we're going to discuss various things related to your dog's health. Sometimes we're going to go through a specific product, sometimes we're going to go through something that's related to a treat, and we're also going to tie in some things related to dog's behavior and training your dog, as all of these things come together to make the best possible life for your dog. We all want to treat our dog like a member of our family, and we can do that by providing them with excellent nutrition, giving them the best possible chance in terms of training, and just understanding their behavior a bit more. So today we're going to start off with a super stinky and disgusting product if you're a human, and that's raw green tripe. So what the heck is tripe anyways? You may have seen tripe in your grocery store, and in the grocery store it's white because it's been bleached and sterilized, and it looks a little bit like honeycomb. That's not the tripe we're talking about today. We're talking about raw green tripe for dogs. And we have 3 different examples of tripe here for you today. And these 2 are frozen raw tripe, and this is a dehydrated tripe. So we'll go through the benefits of each of them and the differences. Now, why is it called green tripe? Well, it's called green tripe because what tripe actually is the stomach contents from ruminants, most particularly from beef and lamb. Now, tripe is not the easiest thing to come by, and it is not the most pleasant thing to deal with as a human, as it is not just odoriferous, but downright stinky if you're a person. So ideally, what you want to do is to serve this to your dog in a format that's more appealing to you, but still good for your dog. And we'll get into that just a little bit later in the video. But first of all, although it's called green tripe, you'll see that really it has a brown color. This is a frozen cube of tripe, and if you look here, this is a 1-pound block, and you'll see really it's brown. It's referred to as green tripe because ruminants graze on grass, and so that gives it a green tinge. And so what is it about tripe that is so good? Why do we want to add this to our dog's diet? Well, tripe has a myriad benefits to your dog. Overall, what it really does is helps your dog get the best nutritional benefit from the food they're eating. So it improves their coat and skin dramatically. It also improves their digestion, which means you get smaller, less frequent, and more firm poops, which is what all of us are looking for with our puppies and our adult dogs. It eliminates any of the skeletal development issues that puppies may have. So if you have your puppy, regardless if your puppy is eating a kibble diet or a raw diet, puppies need a lot of things to help them develop. And if you're on a kibble diet, that is really hard for a puppy to get the bioavailability from the food from. Anything that is processed over 108 degrees Fahrenheit tends to destroy all of the digestive enzymes in the food, well, all of the enzymes in the food. And without those enzymes, your puppy isn't able to actually absorb the benefits of the food very well. Now, if your puppy is eating a raw food diet, it can be a challenge to have that balanced really well and to get lots of calcium and phosphorus in the right balance for your puppy to consume. Usually we recommend that puppies eat a lot of fresh bones to help with that, but a puppy, especially if you have a very small breed puppy, they can only consume so much, and sometimes they're not going to get all that they need. Whereas if you add tripe to the diet, it is in the perfect balance of calcium to phosphorus, which is 1-to-1, and it easily gives them everything they need for terrific neurological and skeletal development. If you have an adult dog, it also improves their muscle tone, their eye health. If you're feeding it to them in the raw format like this is a really chewy thing for a puppy or an adult dog to eat. And by chewing on this gives them all of the dental benefits that they would have even if they were eating a bone. And the other form of tripe is dehydrated as sort of like a treat. And this is an example of a dehydrated tripe stick. This provides multiple benefits for your dog as well. And if you can't see your way clear to feeding your dog a raw diet and you don't want to deal with this, then you can substitute with this dehydrated product. This is second best, this is first best. This still provides lots of benefits, and in particular, it is an excellent tooth cleaner. It's a really hard dehydrated product, so it does require lots of chewing and will give your dog lots of dental benefit. This, however, is not appropriate for a puppy. This is way too hard for a puppy to be able to deal with until they're a bit older. So they need to have the raw format to get the benefit. You'll also find when you feed tripe that your dog's endurance and stamina improves. It gives them so much more energy. It also can give them a calmer demeanor. And how the heck does that happen? Well, they get the calmer demeanor because the anxiety levels are reduced due to the enzymes that they have in the tripe. So also, if you're not feeding tripe and if you're feeding a commercial diet, a processed food diet, a kibble diet, then your dog has to expend tremendous effort to try and extricate any of the nutritional value. And by doing that, it does tend to make them a little bit more anxious. It makes them a little bit more pent up. And even if your dog is on a raw food diet, they're not getting all the benefits of that raw food diet if they're not eating tripe. So it really does help to provide your dog with a lot more inner zen, if you will. And you'll find that if you get your puppy from a breeder and your breeder weans their puppies to raw and includes tripe in their diet, that those puppies will be calmer and better adjusted puppies. It's quite amazing. You will also find, if you happen to be a breeder yourself, that hormonal issues are much less prevalent if your girls and your boys eat tripe. Now, if you have a spayed or neutered dog, as most of us do, it will also help to regulate those hormonal balances. When we desex our dogs, we take their hormonal balance and we wreak havoc with it. Some dogs, you'd never know. They just carry on and everything's fine. Some dogs have a tremendous amount of difficulty dealing with having been spayed or neutered, and their hormones really go out of whack. Lots of dogs tend to gain weight after they've been spayed or neutered, and that's due to a hormonal imbalance. And some dogs really gain weight. I myself have one, and she just ballooned after she was spayed. She's eating a raw diet, and we had to feed her almost nothing to be able to keep her weight under control. Once we started introducing tripe to her diet, that really helped to solve that problem. It was really quite remarkable. And now she can eat more, which makes her happy, also lets her absorb all those micro and macronutrients from her food, but she's not gaining the weight so much, and she's not so obsessed with constantly eating all the time. The digestive enzymes are also a natural cleanser for your dog's system. It cleanses their blood, it removes parasites, and it removes toxins. So that is also a huge benefit. If you have an older dog and they tend to have any arthritic conditions, and if they have any inflammation, then the tripe will also help with that. Now, a high processed food, which is what kibble is, generally tends to lead to inflammation in dogs longer term. So once your dog is over 6 or 7 years of age, you may notice that they're a little bit uncomfortable and that they're suffering from some inflammatory conditions. If you're able to add tripe into their diet, that will really help them with that. And if you don't want to go to a raw product, you absolutely don't have to. If you have an older dog and you use the dehydrated form, you'll still get many of these benefits, and your dog will have so much improvement in their life. Their eyesight will also improve. So it's great for an older dog. Now, when you have the cooked food or kibble, so that includes freeze-dried food and dehydrated food, most dehydrated foods. If it is a cooked food, So kibble, for instance, is all made at over 188 degrees Fahrenheit. So it is definitely processed at a high heat. Some dehydrated forms of dog food are also dehydrated at a very high heat. So if it's in excess of 188 degrees, that too is destroying the digestive enzymes in the product. And if you have a dehydrated food such as the brand Smack, it is dehydrated at a much lower temperature, so it's perfectly fine. Those digestive enzymes are in there. Now that doesn't mean if you're feeding raw or if you're feeding a food that is cooked or processed at under 188 degrees Fahrenheit that you still don't need tripe. Because it doesn't matter, as I said, what you're feeding. Tripe will enhance everything in your dog's life. It will help remove all of those concerns you have with yeast buildup that result in chronic ear infections. When your dog bites their feet, or if they have a spot on their body that they worry a lot. Sometimes you'll see dogs and they have sort of a rusty spot because they're chewing on their leg, they're biting their feet, they might be scooting their butt. Any of those things, those are a result of a yeast buildup. Now, dogs can get a yeast buildup from a variety of different ways, but generally it's from diet. So if you eat a raw diet and you eat food that we call a dinner, which includes fruits and vegetables, they tend to sometimes cause a buildup of yeast in dogs. We like to recommend to everyone you alternate between pures and completes. And we'll get into that in a different episode. But suffice it to say that that high glycemic index does tend to result in a higher yeast level within your dog's system. If you eat kibble, because of the way kibble's processed, you will have a high yeast buildup, and also a lot of what goes into kibble is very high starchy foods, and those starches, of course, process into carbohydrates, which are sugar, and that causes a yeast buildup in your dog as well. So the tripe is a natural way to help deal with yeast buildup. And again, it doesn't matter if you're using this dehydrated format or if you're using the frozen format, it will help with those yeast issues. The other thing you want to do to help with yeast and to complement the tripe and your dog's diet is look at adding fermented products. A fermented vegetable, for instance, or a pre-probiotic supplement that is fermented. Those all go a long ways to helping your dog out. So how do you feed this tripe business? Now, ideally, what we like to recommend is that once your dog is over 6 months of age and can handle the dehydrated format, that you alternate 3 different ways. First of all, you choose a raw dog food product that has tripe included in it. There's many of those on the market. Big Country Raw is the product that we like to use for that. Many of their blends have tripe included in them, and also things like their lamb dinner have tripe included in them. Happy Dogs is another great raw product, and they offer a chicken and tripe product. And so that's another terrific way to get tripe into your dog's diet. So you would have those products, the lamb dinner, for instance, or one of the blends from Big Country Raw, and the Happy Dogs chicken and tripe. You would have that as part of your dog's raw rotation of food that they eat regularly. Then on the days when they're not having a raw product that contains tripe, then you would want to give them one of these frozen bits of tripe. Now, if you have a puppy or a dog who is under 30 pounds, 1 cube like this is approximately a 1-inch cube. You'll see that they vary. This one is bigger. This one is the smallest. It doesn't matter, it will average out over time. But you want to feed them the equivalent of one that's this size, which is about 1 by 1 by 1. And you want to give that to them, and you can give that to them as a treat so that it's just frozen or thawed rather slightly. That way you have less smell and it may not bother you as much. Or if you want, you can defrost and you can have a package like this. Once it's defrosted somewhat, you can cut it up with a nice sharp knife into smaller cubes and then keep those for later. This size package is terrific if you have a larger dog or if you have more than 1 dog. In our family, we have 3 dogs, so I use this package. I go through this package with my 3 dogs in about 2 days. When you thaw this frozen tripe out, out, it can remain in your fridge and be perfectly fine for 3 days after it's fully thawed. It will take you about 2 days to thaw it out in your fridge, or if you thaw it out on your counter, then you can just put it directly into your fridge, and as I said, it will be good for 3 days. And then you just take a scoop out and you just roughly eyeball it so that it measures out to about this amount that you mix into their food. With the cubes, this is ideal if you have a smaller dog or you just have one dog and you don't want to be thawing things out and cutting them up. The small mini cubes are great. These are from Canine Choice. And as I said, you can feed this as a treat to your dog. Dogs just love tripe. Well, it's kind of gross for us as people, and it smells bad, and it's something that we go, ugh, no thank you. Dogs' eyes light up when they smell the tripe, and it's just like a magnet for them. They all love to eat tripe. Now, that doesn't mean they like it in every format. So not every dog is going to like, for instance, the chicken tripe blend. Not all of them do. Not all of them like the blends that the tripe is in. Not all of them like lamb dinner. But I have yet to find a dog who does not love to devour it in this format. They all love that. So this and the Big Country Raw, bigger type of format, this is more like a ground beef when you take it, when it's thawed out and put it in their dish. This obviously is more chunky. This has quite a bit of chew in it. This one has a little bit less chew in it. This is easier. This is what we feed to puppies. We are also dog breeders and we do raise our puppies with tripe and we wean them to raw. This is the product we use for them. It's much easier for them when they're first developing their teeth to consume. Then as they get older, we switch them off to these cubes, which they really tend to enjoy. Generally speaking, we recommend the cubes once they're 3 months or older and have all their teeth. Then with the food products, you're going to alternate with this one or this one, and then you're going to give them the stick every now and then. So you have lots of different ways to feed it to your dog. And you may end up having a dog who only likes it one way. And if that's the case, well, then use that way. Whatever way you can get them to eat it, you want them to have it. And it really, ideally, is part of their diet every day. How much tripe do you feed? Roughly when you're first starting, if you have a nice healthy dog or puppy, about 5% of their total food intake. Now, if you have a dog who's suffering from a coat problem, itchy skin, problems with their eyes, their ears, sore muscles, inflammation, any of those types of health issues, bump it up to 10%. Just be aware that tripe is not a complete diet. While it provides wonderful things and all sorts of benefits to your dog, it is not a complete diet. You cannot just feed your dog tripe. They need to have proteins from other sources, from animal sources. They need to have organs. They need to have fruits and vegetables. But tripe is a really important thing to add to their diet. So we hope you'll give it a try. If you have any questions regarding tripe and how to find it or what other types of brands in your area might be good if you're not able to access Big Country Raw or the Canine Choice or the Hero product, just drop us a line in the comment below and we'll be happy to help you source out various products that will help your dog out. If you have any questions about how much to feed, etc., just shoot me a comment there and I'll be happy to respond to you. And we hope you really enjoyed the video and found it helpful. And next week, we're going to be talking about fermented vegetables and how those are helpful for your dog and their diet, along with quail eggs. So we look forward to seeing you in the next episode of The Dog's Dish.